conversation on here. How many pictures are you gonna take? Oh Lord, have mercy. Have mercy.
All right. Welcome to Harvison Coaching. This is a new segment we're going to start introducing every now and then called Conversations with Ma. So this here is my mother, Paulette Harvison. Her first time being on camera like this. So this should be funny, but what we're going to do is we're going to focus a whole lot just on having fun, getting to know my mom, and also some of the things she's gone through, as well as talking about purpose in life in general. And as you can see, she's looking at the camera with a whole bunch of effort. All right, so here we go. This is supposed to be really relaxed, but anyway, so here we go. Ma, tell the people where you're from.
Okay, my name is Paulette Harvison, and I am from Jackson, Tennessee.
Yeah. All right, as you can see, this is my mom. This is my mom. All right, anyway, Ma, what you do? What kind of work did you do?
Okay, I was a teacher for 24 years in the Jackson-Madison County school system. Before then, I worked in the utility office in Milan, Tennessee.
All right. Now, what grades did you teach in school?
Okay, basically I taught in school elementary, every grade except first. Basically, I was in every grade but first grade.
Okay.
K through 5.
Okay, that's cool. All right, Mom, so let's just have some fun real quick.
Okay.
All right, now I'm your only son.
Yes, you are.
I'm your only child.
My favorite.
Okay. All right. So, because of that, get them a few funny stories real quick before we get into it.
Okay, before we get into it, the funny stories are, I had no sense of staying away from walls, I guess you could say, as I was walking. And JD was a baby, and I kind of like walked close to the walls, and I kind of like hit his head against everything when I walked. Sorry, JD. But to make a long story short, as I walked close to the walls, one of the first words that he said when I was putting him in, we had a little tour cell, which was small. I was putting him inside the car, and he grabbed put his little hand on his head and went like, Ma, oh my head. So.
That was my first word?
Well, really, actually, one of your first words, but basically one of your first sentences, because it was before you actually talked well. You did say, oh, Mom, my head. And you did like this.
As you can hear, that's my grandmother in the background. She's going to be on camera next. All right, so this is going to be a fun interview. All right, here we go. But, so Mom, she's been through a lot these past few years. Mom, can you tell them about like the health journeys you've been through and stuff like that?
Okay, the journeys that I've been through is back in, I would say 2020, I was diagnosed with something called amyloidosis. And of course that happened in Jackson, Tennessee after I had gone to a cardiologist, and they did several tests and everything. And they diagnosed me with amyloidosis, something that I had never heard of, something was very rare. Matter of fact, at that time in Jackson, Tennessee, majority of the doctors didn't know. So what happened, I had to wait about 6 months on the medicine, which the doctor told me it was going to cost. It was during COVID time, and they were going to have to get it from Europe, and it was going to take, for me to just hold on, the 4 or 6 months, it's going to take a long time. Well, in the meantime, while I'm waiting on it, and not knowing what it was, my niece told me that, what you going to do, just sit around here and wait on your medicine and come. And I'm going like, yeah, but she checked, and she spoke to someone who had heard of amyloidosis, and she got in contact with Vanderbilt, which had a whole apartment dedicated to amyloidosis. So I went up there, and they told me the type that I had, and amyloidosis, exactly what it is, people don't know. My bone marrow was producing too many proteins, and those proteins affected my heart. And I was receiving my treatment from started receiving my treatment from Vanderbilt. And make a long story short, they told me that they were glad that I did come to Vanderbilt instead of waiting on that drug that was coming to Jackson, because Jackson would have treated me with the wrong type of medicine. I was waiting on, per se, a medicine instead of Vanderbilt gave me chemo. And to have amyloidosis, there's two kinds. The kind that you are genetically born with, or the kind that just develop and they don't have a clue. Well, Jackson was gonna treat me with the type that you were genetically born with, but the type that I have is the type that for whatever reason I have it. So needless to say, I didn't know how close of death I was. I remember recalling reading, and they said that I was going to have maybe a heart transplant, and which I just said no. I had, like I said, I had no clue what it was, but to make it short, I was determined not to let it defeat me no matter what it was. I just said it's in the Lord's hand. I don't know what it is. It took me a while to even pronounce it. It took, I had very good doctors that gave me pamphlets on it, very good doctors that knew exactly what to treat me with, doctors that fought for a drug that was experimental at the time. And that's how I started my treatment in Vanderbilt. But then another thing happened. When I was in Vanderbilt, I was taking what they call a placebo. I don't know if it's placebo or not, because what I have is so rare. They was testing a drug, which I could have been given placebo, I don't know, which was an infusion. And I also was given two type of other medications, which were infusions every time. And then also a shot, the medicine that started helping me and turn my life around and my body around was an injection, and it also started at Vanderbilt. But before, a few weeks after I started getting injection and all that medication, I just started passing out without even knowing that I was passing out. I had no knowledge that I was going to faint. I had no knowledge that I was weak. All of a sudden, I just said the first time it happened, I was on my way. I'm going like, I got to eat something. I was on my way to get a yogurt, and I passed out without any kind of notice.
You passed out where? At the house?
At home. I passed out at home on my way from the kitchen, on my way from the den to the kitchen. And I just passed out in the floor. And when I awakened, my mother was standing over me trying to wake me, and I have two dogs, and they also was trying to wake me, and I didn't know what was going on. Neighbor came and helped us all up, and then I told the doctor. I didn't call the doctor at that time, and they told me to keep a watch out of it. She was telling me what to do in case if I would faint, and I said, well, I just go out. So I went back home. I believe it was like the next week after that treatment. I went back home, and this time I went out 3 times. I went out 3 times, and I had told my mother, I told her, do not call the doctor if I go out. I will get up. Well, I fell once, and I got back up. Next, I get up, sit up. I fell in it. I fainted again. I got back up again. Still, don't you call the doctor. Well, the 3rd time I got up, I was not completely out. At that time when I woke up, my mother was standing there calling 911. By that time, I didn't care because I'm going like, something is wrong. And then I went to the hospital. They carried me to the hospital. Jackson, they did learn at Jackson. The cardiologist did learn. He didn't specifically know why, because first they said I had a heart attack, which I didn't. But they did learn that the top portion of my heart was beating so fast that the bottom couldn't keep up with it, and that's the reason I was just passing out. But make a long story home, they sent me in ICU.
No, you said a long story home.
Long story right now? Short, whatever. Okay, now, I keep talking about this thing with amyloidosis because JD's throwing me off track because I want people to know what amyloidosis is. Okay, my mother is talking in the background.
No, this is fun.
Okay, let's just say amyloidosis is something that no one wants it to have because it can affect any organs. My organ is my heart. My heart's enlarged. It made me very weak. One of the medicines that I was taking, thank God for Vanderbilt, they took me off for everything that I was taking in Jackson and started me all over again. Thank God for that. And I just believe that God was ordering my steps. That was in 2021. And as I went out the last time, it so happened after I went in the hospital, and it so happened at the time when I was in the hospital, JD was also coming down to Memphis to meet some friends. And I can recall one time just looking over to him in the hospital, and they came in, like I said, I couldn't tell, and they was telling me what to do to bring myself back. And I ended up in ICU. But to make a long story short, I always felt that God had me. That was in 2021, and JD told me after I got, he said, Mom, I'm here for a reason. This is spiritual, the reason I'm here, not naturally. And I recalled earlier that I had prayed that if my child had said anything to me, that the reason that I had to move, I used to talk about that earlier, because at the time, of course, my husband was deceased. But he had said that I prayed that I would listen. So as he was speaking, I started listening, and the doctor called from Vanderbilt, and she said, no, you come straight up here to me. And they found that I needed a defibrillator. So they put the defibrillator in to monitor my heart rate. And when I got out of Vanderbilt, I was in the hospital another week, and the next few days, my son had got me a plane ticket, and my mother a plane ticket, and I have been in Virginia ever since. And the Lord guided my steps again. I went to great doctors in at Chapel Hill. I'm still under one of them. I've been blessed to have some of the greatest doctors. Had I not have come up here, or had I had stayed at home, it may have been different. But because God was ordering my steps so much, and even after I got up here, amyloidosis is now under control. I'm now in remission. I don't go to the doctors. I haven't had a chemo shot since last August. I don't go to the doctor as often. My blood work is good. Those light chains, what they call, they check to see if those in my body, they are gone. The doctor told me, yes. He said, over the millions of those that was there, they were now zero.
What did all of that, teach you though? You said that you had to keep going to the doctor first, I get it, people pass out, but you don't want the doctor to know that you were passing out, I guess. But in those instances, it's like you have to hit a moment where you had no choice but to go to the hospital. You were talking about purpose, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a purpose. Me and Tisha were there the weekend. You saw up in the pass out because Grandma called us, and we drove in from Memphis because AP and Paul brought us there. What did it teach you about purpose and moving forward? Okay,
the purpose of your life is, at certain times there's a purpose in your situation that you have to learn from. And my purpose right then was to follow Jesus no matter what. And by me following Jesus no matter what the circumstances. Remember you all, when I back up, not only is my disease rare, one doctor told me, now I never will overcome this disease. It's going to always be with me. I always have to be checked out. However, it can be maintained. So it's been maintained very well. So my purpose and me moving along here is to let everybody know that no matter what you're going through, what you know what it is, what anybody know, the doctors know, your purpose is to let people know that God brought me through this, then he can also bring you through that. And even when a situation that you don't know or never heard of, God's got you. He always. It's just like he lifted me up. So that was the purpose of me falling out at the exact time, so I can listen to my child at the time. And then the doctor calling me, going like, no. We don't want to listen to the people back home in your hometown. You come up here to me where we're going to take care of you. And the purpose of me is for me to teach people, just let God order your steps. Follow him, because he's the one that we have to follow out. He is the director of our life. He has you. Not the doctors. Thank God, I've been blessed with wonderful doctors, but God led me in a direction to each one of these doctors.
Well, that's a fair point too. Just talking about being led. I even think about, well, grandma being there with you at that time. It's a blessing that you went to the house by yourself. Things like that happen. So not overlooking those steps. Because we were having a conversation about purpose after all this took place, and you had said that you think sometimes people's purpose can change as they get older because responsibilities change. What do you mean by that?
Okay, what I mean by, we are born, everybody's always searching for a purpose, the purpose. But what I feel like your purpose changes in life. In life, maybe when you're little small, I've always been one of these people that would go into, and even when I was small, trust God, I believe in God, and, at my own little knowledge. So that was my purpose then. As I got older, my purpose changed. As my matured and got older, I had a purpose of trying to do my best in life, and then other people know that, hey, I can do it, you can too. And then there's a purpose when I had my child. I had to turn everything over at that time. My purpose was to make him a better being, to introduce him to life, to God, and to turn him completely over to God. That was my purpose. And then I had a purpose of helping my husband when he was sick, to get him through that. And I look back on it and I always think about his purpose was to teach me how to love more, because before him, there was no words. I didn't say I love you. I didn't hug people. But watching people, and I got to know him more, got closer to God, then that was my purpose, to give people a hug, to talk to people, or to help people. And your purpose keep changing, because as you change, God keep giving you things or helping you through things, or he may bless you more with money that you didn't have as you were younger, and your purpose could change. Well, I can help somebody out now. That's my purpose. I can give back what God said for me to give. Maybe back in the day I wasn't able to give my 10%. Now I can give my 10%. Because, in other words, you don't let society pinpoint you into believing what a purpose should be, that you're going to be born knowing your purpose. You are born with a gift. My gift, as people will tell me, is talking. Anybody knows me? At first, I don't talk. Mm-hmm. But as you get to know me, I'm going to talk more and more. And I will. Now, that is my gift. But my purpose in life have changed throughout. And I thank God for it, because you got to change in life in order to get closer to him. And by me accepting the purposes and at the different stages, now my purpose is learning more, even more about the one that has led me through all of these trials, so I can tell other people and know exactly what I'm telling other people.
So would you say that, your gift, it stayed the same throughout those different changes?
Yes.
The gift stayed the same, but the purpose changed. So.
Yes, my gift has always been a talker once they got to know me.
Yeah, you can talk.
Yeah, I can talk.
Yeah, you can talk.
Yeah, I can talk.
You can go.
Yeah.
Remember when you introduced me?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Mama can talk.
Yeah, they had to play the music on you.
Yeah, they did have to play the music on me. Yeah, because that's the reason a lot of times the people don't see the real me because I can't
You can
talk.
go, yeah.
So yeah, so only a few people know that now. Unfortunately, others will know. So,
Unfortunately, others will know.
yeah, unfortunately. So if I'm standing back, yeah, that's something that I've tried to keep hidden about my talking because
You can, yeah.
yeah, I can talk too
Yeah, you
much.
don't-
I know I accept me.
Yeah.
I know me.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's glad that you know you.
I do.
Okay.
I know.
How did you and Dad meet?
Oh my goodness.
And how
Well,
much-
let's just tell a story.
Well, how
Okay.
long were y'all married before he passed away? How many years was it?
We were married 31 years. We was
31
married
years?
31 years
Okay.
when James died. Of course, it was not easy. It was not all easy. I will not tell anybody. I am not the person who's going to tell you nothing that's easy in life. That's another thing. As you grow older, as you grow to depend more on the Lord, and both of you grow into the Lord, things going to change. It was a whole lot better towards the end than it was in the beginning. And like I said, and that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to grow and he wants us to change. He's not going to, it's like this. If God doesn't remind you of your failures, then why should you remind your spouse or your children of what they did? Because when you started searching that Bible, and when God said, I forgive you, I forget it. And we're still human. Yeah, we forgive, but we don't forget. But you don't have to bring it up. You can learn to keep your mouth quiet and peaceful. And that's another thing that you learn as you get older. And anybody that knows James Harvison or me, or recall, and if some of you are going to be looking at that, you would notice that he was the one that was the talker in most of the time, and I was the listener, or I stood behind him until I got to know you.
Y'all, we're going to make this fun. So we're looking at a time and my mom saw the clock, so she tried to change her approach.
Yes, I did. I tried to, she put this clock up in front of me, and I'm watching this clock. So I'm going like, why she put that clock up there? Is it meant time for me to stop talking, to quiet down, or what do I need to do?
Oh, gosh. All right.
But I'm just being for real.
Okay. So.
Because I am a clock watcher. Those as teachers know, we watch the clock.
You watch the clock.
We
All right.
watch the
So
clock.
I was asking, well, how did you and Dad meet? Make it short.
Okay, Dad and I met at the club.
Yeah, I met at the club. What was
We
the
were
name?
dancing.
What's the name of that club? I never knew the name of that club.
The name of the club was Joe Bricks.
Joe Bricks.
Joe Brick.
What, with an S or no S?
I can't remember. You know how to pronounce it right. Nobody did. But
That's-
Joe Brick, okay?
All right, yeah.
We'll leave it alone. You know, we all pronounced it. I can't remember if it's B-R-I-C-K, B-R-I-T-T. I'm sure somebody out there, my age, Jackson, Tennessee, know exactly which
Okay.
one. But Joe Brick, we met there, and the rest is history. And James found out where I worked at the time. I worked at Sears, just got out of college, and rest is history. Came up by to see me. He brought his best friend with him, and I recall a lady knew him, and she said, that's a nice little boy. And then somebody else said, just looking at him, she said, he look like he got a sense of humor. That's who you need in your life. Somebody gonna always make you laugh. And James Harvison did make me laugh. Yeah. So, the rest is history.
Yeah, he did.
He's always messing with me and always playing games, all that good old stuff.
So, also, before we end, you like scary movies?
I do.
Okay.
I got loud. I
You
love
did.
them.
You did. Okay. What's one of your favorite scary movies?
You know, of course, we watched Saw together.
Saw,
There was
yeah,
a
Saw.
family. Saw was a
Saw
family.
was a family movie, y'all.
It was a family
Saw was a
movie.
family movie series.
We went
To the movies.
movies, and
As a family.
JD had to come home from Memphis from
Yep.
school to watch
To
Saw.
watch Saw. We did that. That is a true story.
True story.
And what's our favorite spot? What's our favorite food spot?
Our favorite food spot
Yeah.
is Gus's Chicken.
Gus's? What's the other
Gus's.
one?
We'll see, what else did we love to eat? Waffle House.
There it is, Waffle House. You
Waffle
heard it.
House and Gus's Chicken.
Waffle House and Gus's Chicken.
That was our favorite spots.
And before we end too, let's tell them about how we used to sell. When I was a kid, we used to sell ducks, rabbits, and chickens.
Yeah.
So let's talk. We got a few minutes.
Just like somebody said, James Harvison was a curator. So one day he decided that he was working with these, what they were called. They weren't homeless boys, but they were troubled children, boys. Halfway houses. Yeah. So, and what he decided, okay, we're going to raise some money. We'll have a fundraiser for him. And he decided he's going to sell chickens. When I said chicken, I mean baby chickens.
Baby chicken.
The little bitty baby chickens came every Easter. And we would go at that time in Jackson, Tennessee. We had 2 or 3 places set up. And everybody would be calling each other on the phone. We did, barely got cell phones then. And letting everybody know how many chickens they had sold. You would get a chicken, a baby chicken, and some food. Mm-hmm. And we also sold baby ducks. Yep. So it was so, we did it every year. They knew at the post office to call him, and we had baby chicks. So that's how they started. We gave the boys so much money, and that we did that for years and years and years. And everybody used to come, and we sold a couple rabbits too. We got in some rabbits because one lady bought a rabbit from us, and she kept him in the house, and she loved that rabbit. She kept that rabbit for many years.
Yeah, and also something funny I found out about that I didn't know about. I mean, obviously I wouldn't remember this. But they said I used to eat worms. So I would put what? Worms in my
Pampers. Yeah, walking outside, Pampers, digging for worms. Of course, James go. We would fish. There was our other outlet.
I still go fishing.
Fish.
But I don't.
JD started fishing probably was 3 years old. Fishing. His uncle's fishing. We started fishing. Yeah, Uncle Baby. Yeah. And we would be digging for the worms, and JD would be putting worms in his Pampers and trying to eat worms, and James was trying to stop him from that. Yeah. My child has always been different.
That's how you lead into that?
Okay, yeah, different. I don't know if everybody ate worms and worms in their Pampers.
No, I don't think they did.
See, this was a different child. Yeah. And everybody didn't call the other children kids. Yeah. He thought he was our age because, a lot of times that's all he was around. We played, we talked. So the other kids his age, those was children. Mama, go get the children. Mama, do this with your children. At the daycare center, he would say, those kids, Mama, those kids. And I'm going we would try to say, JD, you won too. But it just never worked out. He always thought he was an adult. He always thought he was grown. And he always bossed us around. Yeah.
And that's a good way to end it. All right. So thank you. Thank you all for coming to the first Conversations with Ma. As you can see, they're going to be unhinged going forward. We're going to talk about some funny stuff going forward too. But I just really wanted her to talk about purpose. And so this is my mom. Also, she didn't mention she's a breast cancer survivor as well.
Yes, I am.
So that's a blessing. But so she breast cancer free, amyloidosis free, and what a blessing it is to have her up here. My wife, my grandmother, I have us all up here as a family, and it's a beautiful thing. So Ma, thank you so much for doing this first one. We'll meet again. And that one, maybe we'll talk about sports, because it's funny here I talk about sports. We're not going to talk about politics, because she can go all day.
Oh, yeah, politics. Let's leave it alone.
But also just life in general. So thanks, Ma.
Quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. I'll see you on the next one.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Why are you telling me bye?
I don't know.